Elaine Hall was in the middle of doing what she did best, smiling. The charity event was being held at the Royal Ontario Museum in Toronto, an elegant fundraiser in the Grand Hall beneath soft golden lighting and white linen banners. The cause was one she had attached her name to for years, a children's mental health initiative, framed in speeches and brochures as giving vulnerable kids a better future. Elaine stood in a sleek designer dress with a flute of champagne in her hand, surrounded by her closest friends, women in diamonds and perfect hair, laughing softly as a photographer snapped pictures for the society pages. She was mid-sentence, talking about donations and impact and how important it was to protect children, when she noticed movement at the edge of the room. Two officers in plain clothes. A third behind them. Calm faces. Serious eyes. Elaine's smile faltered. "What is this?" she asked, still laughing a little as if it had to be a mistake. One of the officers stepped closer. "Elaine Hall?" "Yes," she said sharply. "Who are you?" "Toronto Police Service," the officer replied, flashing identification. "Ma'am, you are under arrest." The air around her seemed to freeze. Her friends fell silent instantly, faces stiff with confusion. "For what?" Elaine demanded, voice tightening. The officer didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. "Kidnapping, human trafficking, child endangerment, identity fraud, and obstruction of justice." Elaine's hand twitched around her glass. "That's ridiculous." "Turn around," the officer said calmly. The handcuffs clicked into place. Someone gasped. One of Elaine's friends stepped backward as if Elaine had become contagious. Another whispered her name, horrified, like she couldn't understand how the woman beside her a moment ago could suddenly be a criminal. Elaine's eyes flashed, furious now, humiliated. She tried to pull her wrists free. "You can't do this," she hissed. "Do you know who my husband is?" But the officers were already guiding her away, through the crowd and past cameras. Past polite faces turned suddenly sharp with curiosity. Elaine Hall, queen of charity lunches and perfect smiles, was led out of the room in handcuffs, her social world breaking around her in real time. Across the city, Robert Hall was arrested in a place built entirely around control. His headquarters was a sleek tower of glass and steel, offices stacked above Toronto like a monument to wealth and ambition. Robert was seated at a long conference table with senior staff and legal advisors, screens glowing behind him with charts and projections. He was mid-discussion, calm, confident, irritated about something minor, when the boardroom doors opened. Security first. Then two men in suits. Then uniformed officers. The room went silent. Robert's jaw tightened. "What is this?" One of the agents stepped forward. "Robert Hall?" Robert didn't stand. "Yes." "You are under arrest," the agent said. "Stand up. Place your hands where we can see them." Robert's expression didn't crack. Not at first. "This is a misunderstanding," he said evenly. "I have lawyers." "You'll have the opportunity to speak with counsel," the agent replied. "Right now, you're being taken into custody." A coworker, someone who had known Robert for years, stared at him in disbelief. Another looked down at the table, refusing to meet anyone's eyes. Robert finally stood. "What are the charges?" he asked coldly. The agent's voice stayed flat and professional, brutal in its simplicity. "Kidnapping, human trafficking, child endangerment, conspiracy, identity fraud, forgery of government records, and interference with a federal investigation." Robert's eyes hardened. "You're making a mistake," he said, voice low. The handcuffs clicked around his wrists. And for the first time, Robert Hall was not escorted as a CEO. He was escorted as a criminal. They walked him out of the boardroom, past glass walls where employees had begun to gather, drawn by instinct and rumor. Heads turned. Phones appeared. Whispered voices followed him down the hallway like a shadow. Robert held his chin high. But the sound of the cuffs was louder than his pride. And somewhere, in Toronto, a boy he'd called his son was already slipping out of his grasp. At the Toronto police station, Elaine and Robert Hall are taken to separate interrogation rooms. No shared hallway. No chance to exchange looks. No whispered plans. Just cold fluorescent light, gray walls, and the sudden reality of being powerless. Elaine is placed in a small room with a metal table bolted to the floor and two chairs. A camera in the corner. A mirror that isn't really a mirror. Her wrists ache from the cuffs. Her hair has begun to slip out of place. For the first time in years, she doesn't look like a woman stepping out of a magazine. She looks like someone caught. The door opens. A female detective steps in and sits across from her, calm and composed. Detective Sonia Patel, she says, placing a folder on the table. Toronto Police Service. Elaine lifts her chin. I want my lawyer. You'll get one, Patel answers evenly. But I'm going to read your rights first. Elaine stares forward, jaw clenched, as Patel speaks. When it's finished, Patel flips open the folder. You know why you're here, Elaine? Elaine's smile is tight, brittle. Because you've made a mistake. My son is at home. Christopher Hall, 17. My son. Patel doesn't blink. Your son's name isn't Christopher Hall, but Cooper Parker. Something flickers in Elaine's eyes, gone in an instant, but real. Patel slides a photograph across the table. It's the NCMEC poster. The age progression images. The birthmark note. Elaine's fingers hover above it, but she doesn't touch it. This is a U.S. case, Patel says. And now it's ours too. Kidnapping, child endangerment, cross-border fraud, human trafficking. Elaine's voice rises, sharp and offended. That's insane. We raised him. We gave him everything. He had a perfect life. Patel leans forward slightly. Where did he come from, Elaine? Elaine laughs once, too loud. From us. Patel flips to another page. A list, dates, transfers, asset movement. 2007, Patel says. You buy a property in the bridle path. You make a series of large cash transfers through private accounts, several of them routed through intermediaries. Elaine's face tightens. Lots of people move money. My husband runs a company. Patel's voice stays flat. Who did you pay for Cooper? Elaine's nostrils flare. I didn't pay anyone. Patel lets the silence stretch. Then she speaks quietly, almost casually. The Parker Triplets were taken in 2006. One was found in Ohio. Another was found in Utah. And now Cooper, the missing brother, was found in your home. Elaine's gaze hardens. Found? He wasn't found. He was raised. Patel's eyes stay locked on hers. By thieves. Elaine's breath sharpens. You don't know anything about me. Patel nods slowly. Then tell me, how did you get him? Elaine's voice drops. Controlled now. I have nothing to say. Patel closes the folder softly. That's your right. But you should know this. He called the police himself. That lands. Elaine stares, stunned, as if her brain refuses to accept it. He did what? She whispers. Patel stands. We'll continue when your lawyer arrives. Elaine sits motionless as the door closes. Her expression changes in waves, anger, disbelief, humiliation, and underneath it all, something sharp and frightened. She has lost him. Robert's interrogation room is identical, but the energy inside it is different. He sits straight back, composed as if he's still in a boardroom. His cuffs are removed, but he keeps his hands flat on the table in front of him. Like that posture alone can restore control. The door opens and two people enter. One is a man in a suit, clearly not Toronto police. The other is a Canadian officer. The man places a badge on the table. Special Agent Daniel Ruiz, FBI. Robert's eyes narrow. I'm in Canada. Ruiz nods. And you're under investigation in the United States. Robert leans back slightly, voice smooth. I want my attorney. You'll get him, Ruiz says. But I'm going to ask a few questions first. Robert doesn't answer. Ruiz opens a folder. Photos slide out onto the table, printouts of Amber and Josh's Facebook. Then family photos. The same images, but with only one child. And then the originals online. 3 boys, not one. Ruiz points at them. You altered the photos. Robert stares without reaction. Lots of parents crop photos. Ruiz doesn't smile. You cropped out 2 missing children. Robert's eyes flicker once. Ruiz flips to another document. We've traced financial activity consistent with child trafficking, Ruiz says. Large transfers. Shell companies. Third-party intermediaries. You have the resources. You have the access. And you have the motive. Robert's voice stays calm. You have no proof. We have a child, Ruiz replies. That finally cracks something in Robert's expression, not fear, annoyance. Like the world has inconvenienced him. Ruiz continues, relentless. Did you take Cooper Parker yourself? Robert doesn't answer. Did you pay someone to take him? Robert's jaw tightens. No. Ruiz nods slightly. Then you won't mind explaining how a missing U.S. child ended up legally registered in Canada as your son. Robert's lips press into a thin line. The Canadian officer beside Ruiz speaks for the first time. Mr. Hall, you are also being investigated for forging or obtaining false documents relating to a minor child's identity. Robert's eyes flash. This is absurd. Ruiz leans forward. You can be angry. You can deny it. But here's what you can't do. Control what happens next. Robert's breath slows, measured. Ruiz's voice drops, colder. Christopher knows. Christopher called. Christopher told us what he found. Robert's gaze turns sharp. He's confused. Ruiz shakes his head once. He's free. That's the word that ends the room. Robert stares at the table for a long moment, like he's trying to calculate his way out of it. But it isn't a business problem. It's a crime. And for the first time, Robert Hall can't buy silence fast enough. Outside the rooms, officers move quietly through hallways, papers being signed, calls being made. The extradition process is already being discussed. Because this isn't just about Toronto anymore. It's about Roseville. It's about three brothers. And a family that is finally taking their son back. Interviews turn into interrogations. Interrogations turn into a grind. For days, Elaine and Robert are questioned separately, hours at a time, broken up by lawyers, paperwork, phone calls between agencies. They are both disciplined, both practiced in control, both convinced, at least at first, that money and denial can outlast truth. But pressure has a way of changing people, and Elaine breaks first. It happens late on the third day, after another long stretch of silence where she stares at the table. Her eyes are swollen from exhaustion. Her face looks older than it did at the fundraiser, older and sharper, like the mask has finally slipped too far to put back on. Detective Sonia Patel sits across from her, patient, unmoving. Elaine, Patel says quietly, we already know enough. This isn't about whether you did it anymore. This is about how much damage you want to do now. Elaine's mouth trembles. I didn't. She begins, then stops. She swallows hard. Then, like a dam giving way, the words come out in a rush that sounds half like confession and half like justification. We couldn't have children, Elaine says, voice cracking. We tried for years with treatments, doctors, everything. And everyone kept saying accept it, like I was supposed to accept that other women got everything and I got nothing. Patel doesn't interrupt. Elaine's eyes flash with something ugly and raw. And then, she whispers, we were in California. We were visiting. And I saw her. Amber, Patel says. Elaine nods quickly. Yes, I saw Amber Parker with the boys. All three of them. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Identical. Perfect. Her hands tremble on the table. She clenches them into fists. I remember thinking it was unfair, she says, her voice rising. I remember feeling sick with it. Like, why her? Why does she get 3 children when I couldn't even have one? Patel leans forward slightly. So, you decided you'd take one. Elaine's eyes shine with tears, whether from guilt or anger, it's impossible to tell. I wanted one of them, she admits hoarsely. Just one? I didn't need 3. I wanted one. She laughs weakly, bitterly. And Robert never said no to me. Because he loved you? Patel asks. Elaine's expression twists. Because he couldn't stand when I was unhappy. Patel's voice stays even. Tell me how it happened. Elaine stares at the table. Then she answers. They hired a man, someone they'd used before for private work, someone who didn't ask questions. Someone who knew how to watch without being seen. For a week he followed Amber, learned her routines and mapped her movements. And he found the pattern. Every day, Amber walked the same path through the park with the boys in the triple stroller, feeding ducks at the lake, playground, and then home. Elaine's voice goes flatter now, as if she has to detach to get through the memory. We waited, she says. We waited until the timing was perfect. Patel's eyes harden. The tunnel. Elaine nods, slowly. Yes. She rubs her face, her hand dragging downward like she can't hold herself together anymore. I was the woman in the tunnel, she whispers. The one who stopped her. Patel says nothing. Elaine's voice cracks again. Robert called me. He gave me the signal. He told me she was coming. That she was close. I talked to her. I acted like I was just admiring them. Patel's tone turns colder. And then your man attacked her. Elaine swallows hard. He came from behind. He put something over her mouth. She went down, fast. Patel's fist tightens against the folder on the table. Ether. Elaine nods once barely. Yes. She looks up then, eyes wide and shining, and for the first time she sounds afraid, not of guilt, but of consequence. And then we took them. She says, we took the stroller. He panicked. We took all three, not just one. We had a car waiting. Robert was there, ready to drive. Patel's voice is razor sharp. So Robert was present. Elaine nods again, trembling. He was in the driver's seat. The room is silent except for Elaine's uneven breathing. You stole 3 children, Patel says quietly. Elaine squeezes her eyes shut, tears spilling now. I only wanted one, she whispers, as if that makes it smaller, as if it makes it forgivable. I only wanted one. But the truth is already out. The tunnel, the team, the hired man, the waiting car, and the final detail that confirms everything the Parkers have always feared. Elaine Hall didn't stumble into their lives by coincidence. She chose them. She watched them. And then she took them. Elaine's hands tremble as she keeps talking, voice quieter now, hoarse, exhausted, like she can barely stand hearing her own words. In the car, she says, I had one of them on my lap. Detective Patel doesn't move. Which one? Elaine's eyes flicker away. A random one, but after sitting with him, he was the one I wanted. Patel's gaze hardens. Say his name. Elaine swallows hard. Cooper. The name hangs in the air like poison. Elaine's fingers twist together, knuckles white. The other 2 were in the back seat, she continues. With the man we hired, the stroller was in the trunk. Patel's voice is controlled. What did you do with it? Elaine's breath shakes. We got rid of it. We couldn't keep it. It was evidence. We threw it into a lake, weighted it down. Patel's jaw tightens, but she doesn't interrupt. She lets Elaine keep going. And then Elaine's voice drops even further. Then it was just the boys. 3 toddlers. 3 identical faces. 3 lives in the hands of strangers. Elaine stares at the table, blinking hard. I didn't want all 3, she says again, desperate to make it sound less monstrous. I couldn't handle all 3. I just wanted him. Cooper. Patel says nothing. Elaine's voice becomes mechanical now, like she's reading from a script she's tried to forget for 14 years. We made an agreement with the man, she says. He was supposed to take the other 2, separate them, make sure they were never traced back to us. Patel's eyes narrow. You paid him. Elaine nods barely. Yes, we gave him money to keep them for some months, to move them around, to make sure they couldn't be found right away. Patel's stomach turns, but her voice stays steady. And after some months? Elaine swallows hard. He was supposed to leave them somewhere, she whispers. Far away. 2 different states. 2 different identities. Or just leave them. Patel's expression sharpens. You didn't care if they lived. Elaine flinches as if struck. I didn't think about it like that. Patel's voice is low and deadly calm. But you did it anyway. Elaine's eyes fill with tears. Her lip trembles. She shakes her head, but there is no denial left in her. I just wanted a child, she whispers. Patel leans forward slightly. You didn't want a child, she says quietly. You wanted to take someone else's. Elaine breaks then, silent sobs shaking her shoulders as the truth finishes settling into its final shape. They didn't just steal a boy. They made a plan to erase 2 others. And the only reason Cooper survived with comfort and privilege was because Elaine chose him. Not because he deserved it. Not because he was loved. But because he was wanted. A few weeks later, Elaine and Robert Hall are extradited to the United States. The moment they land, everything shifts. Toronto had been humiliating, handcuffs, press, station lights, but California feels colder in a different way. Federal buildings, court orders, men and women who don't care about Toronto status or charity photos. Here, their names mean nothing. They're separated again. Separate holding, separate interviews. And this time, Robert breaks first. Not with tears, with betrayal. He sits in an interrogation room in California, posture straight, suit replaced by plain prison-issued clothing. His face is tight with fury, not fear. Across from him sits Special Agent Daniel Ruiz and an American detective from Roseville, both listening without reacting. Robert's lawyer hovers nearby, tense. Robert exhales sharply. You want the truth? He snaps. Fine. Here it is. He leans forward, eyes burning. This was Elaine's idea. Elaine's name hits the room like a match. Ruiz doesn't flinch. Explain. Robert's mouth tightens. She saw that woman in the park. Amber Parker. She saw the triplets and he shakes his head, disgusted. She couldn't handle it. She said it was unfair. That it should have been her. He laughs once, empty. She wanted a child the way her friends had children. Like it was a handbag. Like it was a status symbol. His lawyer shifts in his seat, but Robert doesn't stop. I was stupid, Robert says, voice bitter. I went along with it. I told myself it would give her peace. That it would finally make her happy. He looks down at his hands, then back up again, jaw clenched hard. And yes, he adds, quieter but sharper, I wanted an heir. The words are ugly in their honesty. A son, Robert continues. Someone to carry the name. Someone who would belong to us. Ruiz watches him closely. So you admit you participated. Robert's eyes flash. I didn't deny that. He takes a slow breath, as if choosing how to frame himself. I arranged things, he says. I paid. I handled the logistics. But Elaine was the one who wanted it. Elaine was the one who picked him out. Elaine was the one in that tunnel. The last part lands like a hammer. Robert leans back slightly, arms stiff, face twisted with a cold kind of blame. She wanted one child, he says, voice full of contempt now. One perfect blonde boy to show off to her friends. She didn't care what happened to the others. Ruiz doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't need to. So, you're saying you're innocent, he says evenly. Robert's lips curl. No, he replies. I'm saying she's the reason we're here. And in a single room under harsh American lights, Robert Hall finally does what he has always done when something threatens his life. He sacrifices someone else to save himself.